Anyways, so we're talking Europe, right? 1600s. Catholicism. What's up?
You've got a universal church. You've got a place, Western Europe. Everybody is, except for the Jews, are under the religious umbrella of a one true church headquartered in Rome, which is also a feudal lord of central Italy and allied with other feudal lords, and in competition with, but also supporting the legitimacy of the network of dynastic families that extract surplus from peasant agriculture. That's it. And Catholicism is the name for that arrangement. And it's good. And if you follow the rules that we've set out for you and go to the Seoul DMV and your appointed time to get like your license renewed, you will go to heaven, guaranteed. You will. Lock it in. Don't worry about it. You're done worrying. This is guaranteed. That is the deal.
Wait, rewind here. First of all, holy shit. Heaven.
Yeah, heaven. For serious.
Heaven, you're talking like, the Fruit of the Loom logo for the underwear?
Yes.
It's like that, except like it's all white, such as the underwear, and then you're eating fruit, and there's angels, and your loved ones are there. I don't understand. You go somewhere and you pay, and then you get to go there?
Yeah, it's wild. You get to go, guaranteed.
And this was how it was, right? This was like how much you're paying like a lot of money for this? Is this an indulgence?
Well, if you're poor, you're really just following the sacraments. You're going to church, and you don't have to go to church that much. Medieval peasants would often go to mass once a year. That is how.
And these guys are complaining. These guys are complaining.
Yeah. No, it's a great deal. And if you're richer and therefore like guiltier for some reason, you can speed things up by paying indulgences to get your relatives sprung from purgatory early and go to heaven, but that meaning that your descendants will do that for you. So it's this conveyor belt to heaven that everybody gets to participate in.
All right, so I got to stop you right there. I've asked this question for literally 2 decades now since I first heard of the concept. What is purgatory?
It's amazing.
Heaven's waiting room.
Yeah, they basically found a way to seek rents on heaven.
It's limbo.
It is Jewish.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, what if is the experience of purgatory? I think it was understood to be like kind of just like hell. It was unpleasant. You were uncomfortable. You were sad, but it was temporary, as opposed to eternal damnation, which was something that a good Christian really never had to worry about. Like unless you were a witch or a Jew or a Turk, you were going to go to heaven. You don't have to worry about it. But the problem was, by the time of the Reformation, when because cracks are showing throughout this thing the entire time. There's millenary sects and radical challenges to Catholicism all through Europe, but they all get suppressed in their peace. But it is in suppressing them that they have to figure out a way to square the original Jewish notion of heaven on earth that Christ promised with this fantasy of going to heaven. If life on earth is actually hell, it becomes harder and harder to hold that out as a promise. So you have to create a bureaucracy to reinforce the belief in heaven by making it a social ritual that you participate in. And that way you can keep heaven alive in your mind while you actually live in shit.
Yeah.
And but eventually, once you get the demographic, critical mass and the technological critical mass, and you get the printing press, all of a sudden, it's not enough. People want that heaven on earth. They want Christ to come back, which was always the promise. And it's by the time of the 1500s, which is 1,500 years since Christ's birth, he's not here. What are we doing wrong? And the answer, because the fucking church, they're doing something wrong. Because if they weren't, we would have some hope that we would get to see heaven on earth, that we would get to see Christ return. We would get to see an actual change of our miserable conditions in this life, not just the fantasy of heaven. And over time, you get a couple of people, starting with Martin Luther, who are able to use this new technology, the printing press, to articulate that dissatisfaction. And all of a sudden, a bunch of people who were like just ambiently alienated from their church find a vocabulary to make sense of their alienation, and then come together around those points.